You Orns. Greetings, fellow Watford fans. Omar here, and it's time for another edition of the You Orns 10-minute take on Watford 2, West Bromwich Albion 1. A game that was end to end, rather entertaining. A game that Watford, for the first time this season, I think, at the Vic, took full control in the first half, even though maybe West Brom had more possession than they did quite significantly overall. Watford, by far, at the Vic this season, have shown no attacking endeavour more than they did today in the first half. I thought that what Watford did was very good indeed, and it was largely thanks to the lineup shift for Tom Cleverley. What he did was convert to a back four, which also inevitably would foster a change in the way the attack was going to run. And it was going to be more of an attacking threat with Vata moving up in an advanced position as a wing back. And on the right hand side, Cordoba doing the very same thing, giving Watford a few more options up front and also creating space for more shots to be taken. And Watford took a number more shots at Vicarage Road than I've seen them do in many a home match. 14 in all on Sunday, 7 shots on target, which is just something you just don't see at the Vic from us very often. Remember, against Queen's Park Rangers, I think they only had 1 shot on target, did we, for the entire match in that game that ended 0-0 earlier. Actually, it was late last month that happened at the Vic. But this game was much more robust from Watford, and although we didn't get the clean sheet, we certainly deserved the lead, and we scored what was, and I predicted that they would score in the first half, what was their first half goal in a number of months at Vicarage Road. Watford got that goal after 35 minutes for Kunbayo, the recipient, his 8th of the season, courtesy of Rocco Vata, his first of 2 assists for Bio on the day, because Bio would score again in the second half to double Watford's lead and put Watford really on track for what would be, despite the end-to-end action, a very comfortable Watford win. But it wasn't, because after the triple change by Carlos Corberan, West Bromwich Albion began to really put things in gear in the second half. The final 20 minutes or so of that second half was anything but plain sailing for the Hornets. And lo and behold, what do you know? Around the 70-minute mark or so, Watford conceded, and it was a goal I think the defense will probably look at and wish they had back. No real closing down of the shot. West Bromwich Albion half the deficit, and people blame Daniel Batman, but I believe blame him wrongly for that particular goal because the defense did not close down well enough and left that gap for the shot to be taken off the ricochet, didn't close it down, didn't block it, didn't do those kinds of things. And as a result, West Bromwich Albion got back into the game. And I think they deserved the goal, did West Broming. And this is a team, don't forget, that hadn't lost away from home since late September, early October. So you've got to factor that in. And now that we're almost at the end of the calendar year, to go that long without a defeat away from home is actually significant until, of course, today, where that stopped and Watford prevailed. But West Bromwich Albion could have scored at least 3 times in that first half. And had the ball bounced correctly for West Brom and had some of their strikers got the ball out from under their feet properly or planted their feet properly, this could have been a very different game at half time. Watford went into the break at 1-0 up, but they really could have gone into the break at 3-1 down or perhaps 3-2 down. Remember, Rocco Vata hit a stunning shot up against the crossbar in that first half that, had it been maybe an inch and a half lower, would have given Watford a lead earlier in the first half. So Watford have to keep this lineup with Vata and Barr starting. They give a lot more width. They give a lot more elasticity in attack. As I've said many times, they are real disruptors on their respective sides of the pitch, and they run into spaces where defenders don't really want to come to. And not only that, they also have good control of the ball when they run with the ball, and they have a good low center of gravity, which really helps as well. Both of these lads are young and they're applying their trade and they're learning. But I really think that Tom Cleverley now, although he is quite conservative at times, has to look at this result against West Brom and keep this kind of lineup going. If you've got to go to a back four, go to the back four. I thought they were sturdy enough tonight. I thought that Pollock was terrific. I thought that Porteous again having a very good stretch here defensively. And I also thought that Jeremy Ngakia did very well. I think this is his first full start. Maybe he did have a start before this, but his first real start this season since, of course, the long injury layoff in his return back. And I thought Ngake did rather well. He was very perceptive. I thought he anticipated very well. He read the ball very well, read the game very well. He got the speed of the game right. He made some really good clearances, and he was also able to bring the ball upfield and play out from under the back very well. So I think on that right side, Ngake did a terrific job. He is keeping the likes of Orion Andrews and company out of the lineup on that right hand side. And I think that that only bodes well when you've got good competition for places. If you can keep Ryan Andrews out of the starting lineup, I think you're doing pretty well for yourself. And Jeremy Ngakia today, I thought, was very, very good. I also thought that Musa Sissoko did a good job. Yeah, he had ups and downs in the game, but for the most part, I thought that his delivery was really good, bringing the ball up out of midfield, charging down that right side, coming into the middle. Cutbacks I thought were very good from him, straight up the middle, cutting the ball back, laid one off that Bio perhaps should have scored off of, I think, in the second half. Sissoko was a pain in the neck for West Bromwich Albion, and he was all over the place with them. And they couldn't live with him. I thought Sissoko had a good game, but particularly the game easily. The You Orns man of the match for Watford clearly was Georgie Shakvatazda, who again shows you how valuable he is. Will it be a shock to anybody if he is no longer at Vicarage Road in the off season? I would not be stunned if a Premier League club comes in for him because his ability to run up the field and drag his teammates up the floor with him, it's sensational. He splits defenses like nobody does in the championship, and he carries a real threat. Sometimes his decision making is still a bit dodgy here and there, but more often than not, he does pick the right pass, and sometimes he takes the shot himself. And for someone who does all that, he really should have more than one goal on the season. A set piece from the Millwall game to start the season with is his only goal so far. But Georgie is somebody who, a good international player as well, is someone who has goals in his locker. He single-handedly put together a tremendous run where he also jinked through three defenders and took a shot. He really should have had a goal and deserved the goal in this game today. But that's the way football can be. It's the hardest thing to do is score. But Georgie Shafratazda invoked the spirit of this game. He really did personify the spirit of this Watford side today against West Bromwich Albion side again, who offered a lot of warning signs throughout this game for Watford. And I do think that when you are going well, as Watford are, they're I think seven unbeaten now, something like that. You're going to get some breaks. And again, when West Bromwich Albion had the ball in front of goal, and one of the West Brom players didn't plant his feet enough or didn't plant his foot to shoot the ball. We really dodged a bullet, and he only could kick the ball forward straight to Backman. You know, that was in the first half in front of the Rookery. Had a player of West Brom's usual stature had scored from there, has shaped his foot and scored there. That really is a different game you're looking at now. And at 1-1 going into halftime, it's all hands on deck. But the all important second goal that Watford scored in that second half was really a key to this game. I think Watford could afford to play a bit more with a bit more freedom after that, but the defending, I think they slacked off because 2-0, although there's some comfort in a 2-0, 2-0 is also a very dangerous scoreline. And of course, it's always a swing left or swing right type of scoreline because, of course, the next goal is everything. If Watford get that next goal, it's 3-0 and it's done and dusted. If West Bromwich Albion get that next goal, obviously, it's a fight to the finish. And this proved to be a fight to the finish, although Watford still, even with West Brom's pressure for 20 minutes, real sustained pressure, the bottom line is that Watford mostly handled it well. And again, I think the defense did their job enough in this game. Again, look, the just two goals conceded now in the last, what, 4 games, 5 games, 4 games. That's a very good thing. And two goals, one in one half of football. Today they conceded second half, and then one half of football last Wednesday, second half against Hull City, what, 15 minutes from the end in the 80th minute or so. So look, the defense has been very, very good. And prior to that, they hadn't conceded in the previous 2 games. So the defensive alignment is working. And I think even with the formation change, the defense is still very solid. We're going to get Ogbonna back in the next few games. And he's a veteran defender that makes defending look so easy. He marshals the defense. He's got good leadership there, Ogbonna. It'll be great to get him back because I think he will also calm down things. Although, again, the defense has done well in his absence. And I think that the attack today was very potent. Bio got the two goals, and he was rather an not a kind of an insignificant presence earlier prior to that goal he scored in the first half. But then he really revved things up after he scored the goal, then got that second goal in the second half, his brace and Watford's double the lead. And look, Bio has 9 goals on the season now, and we're at 20 games in, not quite halfway through the season yet, and he's already got 9 goals. I think one question I have for you as a Watford fan watching this is, do you think that Udinese should loan Bio back to us for next season to start the season with? Would you like to see him come back? If Udinese offloaded him for a loan spell, would you like to see him back at the Vic? And I'm talking about Bio because I mean Bio has 9 goals in the season. We know there's been a fair share of criticism of Bio by a number of Watford fans. Perhaps you are among those fans. I know that I had criticized him, and I'm a big fan of Bio's, but I know I criticized him earlier this season. But the bottom line is that this man works for you up and down the pitch, both ends. He is tireless. He's an unselfish teammate. He loves playing with his teammates, playing good football with them. And look, he has absolutely played his socks off, worked hard, both ends of the ball, holds up the ball, defends well. He does all the little fundamental things right, but sometimes he doesn't do the scoring right. But you can't complain about a brace today, and you can't complain about 9 goals today. And he's also come off the bench a number of times. And so I think this man, for me, I would like to see him come back next season. Now, if he scores 15 goals or more, I will definitely rubber stamp that. I've put this on social media, and some Watford fans are not keen to see Bio again, despite the fact he's scoring a brace today and 4 goals at Wednesday the previous month. And the guy's got 9 goals to lead all scorers. I don't know what more you want from Bio. He won you the game today with 2 really good goals, well taken, not easy goals to score. I don't know what you want from the man. I really don't. Blood out of a stone? I don't know. But I really want to know what people think about whether or not, if they would like to see Bio back in a Watford shirt next season, if it was so that Udinese wanted to loan him out. But we'll see. I'd really love to hear what you have to say in the comments. But Watford today, purposeful, energetic, created a lot more opportunities, very intentional, did the things that you needed them to do in the first half, create a spark, move the ball faster, move the ball quicker, stretch the pitch, give us width, play the game with a lot of expansion as they did. I love the way they played this game, and also Clev's subs were very effective. Larouci come on late, helped break down some of that West Bromwich Albion dominance in the last half of that second half. And also what Watford did so well today is establish a tempo as their own. West Brom probably wanted to slow the game down a lot more, but West Brom were forced to play our tempo throughout this match. And maybe it worked for them because they had 63% of the ball. And I know West Brom love to keep possession under Carlos Corberan, and that's not something that's a surprise, really. But what Watford did was control the tempo and the pace of the match by playing the ball faster and quicker, by moving up the pitch a lot quicker. And I think that's a function of the change of formation, the change of personnel that Kleb's put in. I think if you put in people like Vata and Barr on either side of the wings, and you give that width, you give that pace, you give that speed, and then you have Georgie going through the middle like a battleship, that's what is going to make the game faster. It's going to conjure up a lot more shot opportunities. And you saw that in this match. As I said, Watford had 14 total shots in the game, 7 shots on target. I mean, that really comes from those three, that triumvirate of Watford players. In the middle, Georgie on either side of him, flanking him, are Vata rather, and Barr. And they are a really good trio that I don't think Tom Cleverley should break up or alternate with. And I was trying to say this earlier. These two men, Vata and Barr, are young lads, and given the fact that Cleves is rather conservative at times. He needs to really think about, and I think I did say this earlier, he really needs to think about playing these lads more often to start with. I know they're young lads, and I understand that they need seasoning, they need to be taken in slowly, but I say take the handbrake off. Let them play. Let them play with the freedom and the confidence. These lads are young and fearless, and so they don't know any better. They're just playing the game of football with the passion, the heart, the spirit, and the purpose and the passion and tenacity that they've been playing it with. And I say if Klebs ever watches this, or someone from Watford FC watches this, play these lads every week. The only way that they're going to get better is through experience. And when you've got all these games, 5 away games in the next 25 days or so, and all the rest of it, you need to play these younger lads. You absolutely do. And this particular lineup, I think, is going to work for Watford to score earlier in the games and certainly score in the first halves of these games. And so I predicted they would score in the first half. Once I saw that lineup, I felt very good about it. I did predict pre-match that they would score in the first half. I got that absolutely spot on. And I predicted the score of Watford 2, West Bromwich Albion 1. Got that absolutely spot on as well. And so now for the second game in a row, I've been able to get the exact score correct pre-match. I also predicted Hull 1, Watford 1, and that's exactly what happened. And don't forget, Vata scored in that game. And I think that really was, and again, this is a really good combination, Vata and Barr. Barr assisted on Vata's goal in the game at Hull in the 80 whatever minute it was, 87th or 88th minute, whatever it was. And then in today's game, then Vata returned the favor not to Barr but to Bayo on his 2 goals, assisted on both. So this becomes infectious now. And when you have that kind of chemistry, that kind of cohesion, you don't want to disrupt that. I don't care if these guys are 15 years old apiece. You have got to put in players who are going to get you up the pitch faster, who are going to create more width in the channels, who are going to be able to be capable of cutting the ball in, cutting back the ball, and creating something and making it happen. And yes, it's also down to the midfield, and Loser was very effective, I thought, today again. But the fact of the matter is that if you're going to start four at the back, these lads, Vata and Barr, have to be part of the equation. And clearly they were today. They were able to do the kinds of things that you would hope for in these matches. And Georgie in the middle was very effective indeed. I think again, easily the man of the match was Georgie Chakpatazda, and no question about it. I thought Watford really percolated today, like they have never done at Vicarage Road, at least this season. And one other thing, it's now 16 unbeaten at the Vic under Tom Cleverley, dating back to March of this calendar year. That would be last season. Um, you can't beat that with a stick. You can't name a manager that's gone that long unbeaten at the Vic. I don't think Graham Taylor even had such an impressive run like that for Watford. 15, 16 games now in a row unbeaten. That is a staggering achievement. That really, really is. And that cannot be overlooked. The defensive posture and shape and positioning cannot be overlooked since Paul Robinson and company have come in. I think Paul Robinson's done a bang up job there. By the way, did you see Robbo's celebration after the game on social media? Go look at that on Watford's social media channel. I think I don't know, he probably might have had a birthday celebration hangover based on that celebration. Take a look at that, and I think you know what I mean. But Robbo has done an excellent job for this club. Is getting these lads to get to the places on the pitch where they haven't been getting to a lot of times. And this was a rare mistake by the defense that happened today to allow that goal. But again, West Bromwich Albion is still a very good side, so there's no shame in that. They just have to clean that up. I'm sure they will, and they'll go again. They got a game against Burnley this coming Saturday at Turf Moor. Oh man, that is going to be some kind of game. We will see how Watford fare, and maybe we'll be able to get Ogbonna back either for that game or the game after. These are very important games now, and when you're playing this well and you still don't have to bring on Festi, Eberseli, or anybody like that, you're doing a pretty good darn job if you're able to avoid bringing him on, or as I said earlier, Ryan Andrews. What a fantastic performance today. I'm really proud of these lads. They bounced back well. They showed great character at Hull, having been down 1-0 late in that game to equalize. And they showed a really good tenacity today in a game that was end to end. I think the most entertaining game at Vicarage Road this season was this game in the championship, I should say, was this game at the Vic today. Most entertaining game at the Vic this season, Watford versus West Brom. And what we've done, by the way, I should add this, has been, and we've done it effectively, beaten the teams above us and around us in the top six. And that's very important. West Brom at started to play were in sixth place, I think, if I remember, or maybe they were seventh at the time we played them today, and we leapfrogged them as a result of this victory. And we've been doing a good job of beating these teams in and around us, above us. We beat, of course, Sunderland this season at the Vic. We've beaten West Brom at the Vic now. We beat, of course, Middlesbrough, who are above us at the Vic, and we beat Blackburn, who are above us at the Vic. So these games against teams in and around us in that playoff area are going to be massive. We got to win these kinds of games. Now, listen, I know we should be winning the games against teams in the bottom four or five, but we've not. We've not won any of them games. Preston, we lost. We lost the game, of course, against. Excuse me, we drew the game against Plymouth and drew the game against QPR. Although QPR better team than their standing position shows. And then we also struggled against Hull to get something out of that. So look, and Hull were rock bottom when we played them. So while we have trouble against them sides at the bottom, we aren't having as much trouble against the sides above us. Which is really good. Now, we did lose the games at Leeds, who are above us. We did lose the game at Sheffield United, who are above us. So you got to look at that. But we'll see how we fare at Turf Moor. Can we break that spell away from home against these top sides? We played well second half against Leeds, if you remember, at Ellen Road, but we still lost. But can we go into Burnley and get 3 points? Well, we'll see how that goes. I'll give my prediction about that later on in the week. This has been the You Orns 10-minute take.